February 28th, 2026, the largest Middle East operation in history, the first 24 hours. It's 9 a.m. Millions of people in Tehran are heading to work or school. It looks like a typical Saturday morning, until the first missile trails appear in the sky. On the morning of February 28th, 2026, one of the most dramatic military operations in world history began. The U.S. and Israel launched simultaneous, coordinated attacks on Iran under the code names Roaring Lion and Operation Epic Fury. But this time, the goal was not just to strike nuclear facilities. The goal was much greater, to consign a regime to the dustbin of history. 9:27 a.m. First explosion. In the heart of Tehran, in the Pasteur district, within walking distance of Khamenei's residence and office, there was a huge explosion. Iran's Fars news agency reported that explosions were occurring one after another in the capital. At the same time, reports of explosions began to come in from Isfahan, Qom, Hamadan, Kermanshah, Karaj, and Tabriz. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz stated that this first strike was the opening salvo of the operation. And what was the target of that strike? Ali Khamenei himself. Trump on Truth Social. Large-scale combat operation. Within hours, Trump addressed the world on Truth Social. His voice was extremely calm, his message extremely clear. A short time ago, the U.S. military launched a large-scale combat operation in Iran. Our goal is to protect the American people by eliminating the threats posed by the Iranian regime. Iran will not acquire nuclear weapons. Trump also clarified the targets: Iran's missile infrastructure, naval forces, Revolutionary Guard command centers, and air defense systems. Moreover, he sent a direct message to Iranian soldiers. If you lay down your arms, I will grant you amnesty. If you do not, you will face certain death. Netanyahu, meanwhile, addressed the nation at the same time. I call on the Iranian people, break the yoke of tyranny. Establish a free and peaceful Iran on these lands. The end of the 86-year-old leader. In the first hours, Iranian state media claimed Khamenei was alive. Foreign Minister Araghchi told NBC News, "As far as I know, both Khamenei and President Pezeshkian are alive." But as the hours passed, the picture changed. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Iran's religious leader since 1989, was killed in a joint attack by the U.S. and Israel. Trump announced the news, and Iranian state television confirmed it hours later. The Iranian government declared 40 days of mourning. An era had ended. But who would replace him remained an unknown question. Iran's retaliation. They targeted 27 bases. Tehran did not remain silent. The Revolutionary Guards announced that they had targeted 27 U.S. military bases in the Middle East and Israeli military facilities in Tel Aviv, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Kuwait, Jordan. The entire Gulf sky was filled with alarm signals. Dubai International Airport, the world's busiest international airport, was closed indefinitely to flights. Israel, the UAE, and Qatar closed their airspace. Thousands of passengers were stranded in dozens of countries. In an interview with NBC News, Trump said that most Iranian leaders had been killed not in a single attack, but in 3 separate operations carried out within 24 hours. U.S. Defense Secretary Hegseth described Operation Epic Fury as the deadliest, most complex, and most sensitive air operation in history. Blood and ruins, civilian casualties. The dark side of the operation also came to light. At least 40 people were killed in an attack that hit a girls' elementary school in the southern Iranian city of Minab. According to the Iranian Red Crescent, the death toll exceeded 200 in the first 24 hours, with more than 700 people injured. The U.S. military announced that it was investigating reports of civilian casualties. The collapse of diplomacy. Back to the negotiating table. What made the operation even more striking was its timing. The attack took place just 2 days after the U.S. and Iran sat down at the negotiating table in Switzerland for nuclear talks. Iran had pledged at the last meeting in Geneva that it would never enrich uranium. The foreign minister, who was mediating for Oman, said significant progress had been made. But it wasn't enough. The big question, what will happen? Khamenei was killed, but the regime remains intact. The Revolutionary Guards continue their attacks. The world wonders how far this cycle of retaliation will go. An interesting note, Russia remained silent throughout the 24-hour bombardment. Not a single statement came from the Kremlin, which has deep military cooperation with Iran in the war in Ukraine. Iranian Foreign Minister Araghchi sent a message to Trump. Regime change is an impossible mission. But he also said he was open to negotiations, provided the U.S. and Israel stop their attacks. The Middle East is currently experiencing one of the most critical 24 hours in history. What will the next moves be? What will the Gulf countries do? How will the power vacuum in Iran be filled? These questions are seeking answers. And we are here, continuing to follow developments for you.